Light is Britain's far-right conspiracy theory paper spreading hate and vicious lies. No, that's what the BBC say. The Light is the only national newspaper bringing you the real news and informed opinion on what's really going on today. You can subscribe, order copies, submit articles, and read back issues on our website, thelightpaper.co.uk, and see for yourself why the establishment are so worried about the uncensored truth getting out to people every month. The Light Paper. Not far right, just right so far. thelightpaper.co.uk.
Scene script. Have you ever pondered the idea of financial independence and early retirement? The notion of not having to clock in at 9 or wrestle with the daily grind? Imagine a life where you're not shackled by financial obligations or a demanding job. It's not an impossible dream, but a reality for those who embrace the FIRE movement. That's financial independence, retire early. Consider the tale of Jane, a woman in her early 30s. Jane was an ordinary person living an ordinary life. She had a 9-to-5 job, a mortgage, car payments, and a lifestyle that was comfortable but hardly extravagant. And like most people, she dreamed of a life where she didn't have to worry about money. Jane decided to make a change. She began by cutting back on non-essential expenses, saving as much of her income as possible. She invested wisely, focusing on assets that generated passive income that didn't require her to trade time for money. Slowly but surely, Jane began to build her financial independence. She was still working, but she was no longer living paycheck to paycheck. She had a safety net, a cushion that gave her the freedom to make choices based on what she wanted, not what she needed. Fast forward 10 years, Jane, now in her early 40s, had achieved her goal. She was financially independent. She had enough passive income to cover her living expenses, and she no longer needed to work to survive. She was free to retire early, to spend her time as she pleased. Jane's story may seem extraordinary, but it's not unique. It's the story of anyone who has embraced the principles of the FIRE movement. It's a tale of discipline, of sacrifice, and of a relentless pursuit of financial independence. To summarize, the key points discussed today revolve around the idea of financial independence and early retirement. It requires discipline and sacrifice, cutting back on non-essential expenses and saving as much as possible. It involves investing wisely, focusing on assets that generate passive income. But most importantly, it requires a change in mindset. It's about seeing money not as a means to buy things, but as a tool to buy freedom. It's about understanding the true value of time and the freedom that comes with not having to trade it for money. This is the essence of the FIRE movement. It's not just about retiring early, it's about achieving financial independence, about gaining the freedom to live life on your own terms. Like Jane, you too can embrace the principles of the FIRE movement and embark on a journey towards financial independence and early retirement. After all, the only thing standing between you and your financial freedom is you.
Ever wondered how much you'd need to save to achieve financial independence? The answer lies within the mathematics of a concept known as FIRE, which stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. The most essential number in your journey to financial independence is calculated by multiplying your annual spend by 25. Notice the emphasis on annual spend, not annual income. This calculation is based on the principle that you need £300 invested for every pound you wish to spend each month in passive income. Hence, your FIRE number is also your monthly spend times 300. This mathematical principle is founded on the 4% safe withdrawal rate, as defined by financial advisor William Bengen. He proposed this rate after analyzing the S&P 500, which typically produces an average of better than 10% growth per year when studied over a period of approximately 30 years. Bengen considered factors such as inflation and market volatility. After studying previous market activity, he concluded that a 4% rate of withdrawal per year would provide for a 30-year sustainable portfolio in the vast majority of cases. So to paint a clearer picture, if your monthly spend is £1,000, then your target for financial independence is 300 times 1,000, or £300,000. Alternatively, if your annual spend is £12,000, your financial independence target is 25 times 12,000, which also equates to £300,000. The first step in planning your financial independence, therefore, lies in understanding your monthly and yearly expenditure. Without this knowledge, it is impossible to take further strides towards your financial freedom. In summary, the mathematics of FIRE revolves around the principle of multiplying your annual spend by 25 or your monthly spend by 300 based on the 4% safe withdrawal rate. Knowing your monthly and annual spend is crucial in determining the amount you need to save to achieve financial independence. Armed with this knowledge, you can then plan your journey towards financial freedom. Remember, the journey to financial independence is not a sprint, but a marathon. Embrace the mathematics of FIRE and take the first step towards your financial independence today.
Good morning, guys. It's 7:55 on Wednesday the 20th of August 2025. That means we have completed 3 years and 20 weeks of what will be roughly an 8-year FIRE journey, FIRE experiment. Just before the market opens, let's have a look at how things closed yesterday. So closed yesterday at £90.39 and a half. Virtually unchanged, 0.03% increase, and that's probably going to reset in the next couple of minutes. In terms of the portfolio itself, we've currently 26,600 odd invested. The return on investment sitting at 26%. With 294 shares in the portfolio. Before the market opens, let's have a quick look at Monzo.
I want a bank that makes money easy.
That sounds perfectly reasonable.
And you are?
We're a bank called Monzo.
I want a bank that shows me what I spend instantly.
No problem, just give us a go. See?
Can you make splitting bills easy?
Super easy, check this out.
But it's a real faff to sign up.
It takes less than 10 minutes.
Ratio.
You're on.
Can I talk to a real person 24/7?
Of course.
Even now?
Yep.
Even now?
Anytime.
Can you tell me when I'm running a little low on cash?
We certainly can.
Cool. Can I afford these?
You certainly can't, sorry. Can't afford that either.
That's a real shame.
Not really. Time's up, how'd you get on?
It's a draw.
Can you help me save for my next holiday?
Oh, how about you set up a savings pot in the Monzo app called Barbados, baby?
Thanks for listening, Monzo.
We're all ears.
We can go now.
Rude. You make Monzo Monzo.
Okay, and as well as a affiliate link for Monzo, you'll also find one for Smarty Mobile in the description for the video. I use both companies and I find them to be pretty good. Still a couple of minutes ahead of market open. Let's have a look at the notifications. Quite a few. Biggest stocks before earnings: Lowe's, Baidu, Target, ZIM or Zim Integrated, not shipping services, Estee Lauder, biggest stocks before earnings, Palo Alto Networks, Medtronic, I'm not sure how you say that, but Xpeng, Home Depot, Faraday Future Intelligent Electric, Soho House surges 16% on news of $2.7 billion buyout deal led by MCR Hotels. Novo Nordisk up 3.7% as FDA expands Wegovy approval to liver disease. No idea what that is about. Something to do with medication, no doubt, if the FDA is involved. Dayforce rallies 27% after reports of takeover interest from Thoma Bravo. Just one other thing to mention, perhaps, which might have an impact on the hotel sector in the UK. Apparently, I think it was yesterday, the High Court in the UK found against the Home Office in relation to a place called the Bell Hotel. Apparently the hotel has been used to house, I'm not sure if we should call them migrants or asylum seekers, but in essence the case came to court because the plaintiffs argued that housing asylum seekers there on a long-term basis essentially changes the use of the facility, and therefore it is no longer operating as a hotel, but it's operating as a home of multiple occupancy, and as a result that is in breach of the planning, basically the planning provisions that govern the site, and my understanding is that the Home Office has been given 2 weeks to move the people living there elsewhere. Unclear at this stage whether the government is going to attempt to appeal that decision, and what impact, if any, it could have on the leisure industry as a whole. I'm not sure just how many hotels, what sort of percentages of hotels are currently used to house asylum seekers, but that looks to be something which is probably going to ripple through the country. As I say, it remains to be seen what the government's next step will be. It's possible that they may attempt to change the law to make this permissible, I suppose is the word, or maybe they will just have to submit a lot of change of use planning applications, and have those quickly rubber stamped by local authorities. Only time will tell. Guys, with that said, the market has just opened and it has just dropped about 0.5% so far for today. And I'm going to go ahead and do our weekly investment. If you've watched the channel before or you follow the journey, you'll know that each week I invest 120 theoretical pounds into the Vanguard S&P 500 exchange traded fund. It's seen here on the Trading 212 practice platform, and at today's current price that's going to buy us roughly 1 1/3 shares. I generally trade when the market is open, and as you can see there's no commission. We'll send that through. This is a markets buy, and we got 1.33 shares as expected. Purchase price 96, and I believe the figures have updated because that 0.5% drop would have pulled the portfolio value back slightly. I didn't look at it from the previous value at close, but obviously we've just added a further 120 or so. So the new portfolio value as things stand, 26,600 odd. In fact, I believe that's slightly lower than it had been but basically due to that market move since the start of the video. But return on investment now sitting at just over 25%, and shares in the portfolio now at 296. Current average purchase price 71.74. And just a final mention on the red circles that you see on screen there. So the one at the bottom left of this screen represents the drop associated with COVID, and then the subsequent V-shaped recovery. That was the first time I'd heard that term. But the one at the top right here, the most recent drop, appeared to tie in with Donald Trump's tariffs announcements, and I think it is evident to anybody looking at this that we have seen a second V-shaped recovery. So the actual dip itself took place around about March, and of course we are now in August. So a few months and things appear to be back on track again. I'm not particularly surprised, to be quite honest. I genuinely believed that was probably what was going to happen, particularly whenever it appeared as if what we saw was a market reaction as opposed to a thought through adjustment. And as you might imagine, it didn't take too long for countries worldwide to come knocking at the door of the White House to renegotiate terms for trade. Guys, that is it for this week. I don't have a lot of time to spend on commentary this morning. I am literally about to walk out the door to work, but thank you for watching. If you have been, if you found this interesting, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in following the journey, hit the subscribe button. I will be back next week with more. Have a great